This story originally appeared on The Athletic, the best place to read about football online. Visit theathletic.co.uk/Tifo Football for a 7-day free trial and 50% off an annual subscription. In celebration of the sporting decade coming to a close, writers from The Athletic have picked their highlights of the 2010s. And here, Adam Crafton assembles a team comprised of the best Premier League signings in each position from the decade. Sir Alex Ferguson missed only 3 Manchester United games as the club's manager, one due to illness against Middlesbrough in '98, a Manchester derby to attend a family wedding in South Africa in 2000, and then finally a League Cup fixture against Scunthorpe in 2010. The reason? To scout David De Gea. Ferguson was determined to avoid the rigmarole that ensued during his many failed attempts to replace Peter Schmeichel, and when Eric Steele came in as goalkeeping coach in 2008, Ferguson's key order was to find a long-term replacement for Edwin van der Sar. They moved for De Gea, whose teething problems were such that, The Athletic has learned, the Spaniard even started texting old confidants from the dressing room at half-time of games for advice. Yet he has emerged as a goalkeeper of outstanding ability and temperament. His quality, even amid the torpor and mediocrity of the post-Ferguson era, has mostly remained consistent. He takes the nod over Manchester City's Edison and Liverpool's Alisson due to the age that he arrived, only 20, and how he adapted physically and technically to become United's player of the decade. According to his former manager Jose Mourinho, a team with 11 Azpilicuetas probably could win the Champions League. Mourinho highlighted not only the Spaniard's quality, but also his character and personality. In terms of value for money, the Chelsea defender must be unrivaled. He's thrived under coaches as varied as Mourinho, Rafael Benitez, Roberto Di Matteo, Antonio Conte and Maurizio Sarri, and he's overcome a troubled start to the campaign to return to form under Frank Lampard. He has performed admirably at left-back, right-back and as a centre-half in a back three under Conte. Tottenham's moves for Toby Alderweireld and Jan Vertonghen for a combined $22 million deserve acclaim, but from a business perspective, to make a £63 million profit on Maguire inside only 2 years represents sharp foresight and transfer market acumen. There is often value to be found in raiding relegated clubs, and Leicester took the chance top 6 clubs steered away from when moving for Maguire in the summer of 2017. They recognised his potential to break into the England team, a World Cup around the corner and the inflated market on successful English talent. The reward came when Manchester United spent £80 million on the defender earlier this year. Liverpool's signing of Van Dijk has been a game-changer for European football, but it was at that point an obvious one to make, and this list is an attempt to reward ingenuity. So the same player does make this team, but for his first move to an English club. Van Dijk was the player that football never fully trusted. Released by Dutch side Willem II as a teenager, he was later overlooked by Ajax, who instead signed Mike van der Hoorn. Louis van Gaal repeatedly snubbed him as manager of Holland. Despite his excellent performances at Celtic, doubts from the European elite remained until it was left to Southampton to pay a snip for the Dutchman in 2015. Much like Maguire, Andy Robertson underlines the merits of pillaging relegated clubs. Robertson was a low-key signing in 2017, and there were famously doubts as he started only 2 Premier League games before December in the first season under Jurgen Klopp. His emergence, therefore, has been all the more impressive, stepping up to a higher level, blending tenacity and pace in defence with bright runs and quality in the final third. In the current market, he must now be worth at least 7 times the fee Liverpool paid. The ultimate bargain signing and arguably the essential player in the greatest football achievement in the Premier League era. 5 years before joining Leicester, a 19-year-old Kanté was playing in the 9th tier of French football and had been rejected from the renowned Clairefontaine training centre as a teenager. Yet when searching for a replacement for Esteban Cambiasso, Leicester's analysis team identified a rare talent. In Jonathan Northcroft's book, Fearless, he explains how key metrics such as interceptions, tackles and forward passes threw up names such as Xabi Alonso and Toni Kroos, but also the less gilded name of Kanté, whose ball recovery statistics were also higher than any player in Europe's top 5 leagues in the 2014-15 season. Marseille wanted Kanté, but Leicester had him in a hotel in the Midlands. Sporting director Steve Walsh ordered him to turn off his phone and would not allow staff to leave the Marriott until the deal was signed. The heist was complete. For longevity and consistent excellence, Fernandinho is impossible to overlook. He bestrides the Manchester City midfield, breaking up play, evading yellow cards, but also keeping the ball superbly. He was essential to Pep Guardiola's revolution, providing the steel to David Silva and Kevin De Bruyne's silk. Even at 34, he remains fundamental to City's success, and when everybody is fit, most probably still keeps the summer signing Rodri out of the team. In those early and occasionally chaotic times of the post-takeover Manchester City, the club prepared a compelling PowerPoint presentation to sell itself to prospective players. Silva was one of those players, lured by both the paycheck and the vision. Valencia were, at the time, in the midst of financial crisis, and senior board members Gary Cook and Brian Marwood focused on negotiating with the Spanish club, while international scout Rob Newman and recruitment lead Mike Rigg got to work on the player's agent. Silva did have some concerns at the time, but City sold the dream, with the presentation featuring helipads and computer-generated imagery as to how City's new training ground could look in a few years' time. He signed up and has since been the division's most consistent creative force. These decisions have been made on the basis of 3 metrics: financial foresight, extended brilliance, or contribution towards Premier League trophies. Coutinho, by the first measure, stands out like a sore thumb, and any deal that invests £7 million and returns a profit of £135 million must therefore take its place in the pantheon. Genius too, as the returns from the sale have been so wisely invested to elevate Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool into European and most likely future Premier League champions. Aguero has simply been the best, most potent striker of the decade in the Premier League. He's now scored 44 goals in the top flight against the established top 6 sides. His first season yielded Manchester City's first Premier League title, and he responded superbly to the challenge posed by the arrival of Pep Guardiola and Gabriel Jesus to become the club's all-time leading goalscorer. Now 31, the goals just keep coming. Hazard's trickery, pace and lethal finishing provided the sprinkling of world-class quality required to elevate Chelsea to champions both under Jose Mourinho and Antonio Conte, while his final flourish in last spring's Europa League final ensured his enduring gift to the club would be Champions League football. Hazard, when the mood took him, was utterly devastating, a blur of flicks and finesse that brought supporters off their seats and eventually convinced Real Madrid to part with a vast fee for his prime years. The script for this video, written by Adam Crafton, was originally featured on The Athletic, the best place to read about football online. Whether it's behind-the-scenes stories, dedicated local reporting about your team, or rich storytelling from around the world, you'll find it all in one place. The Athletic has even released a bunch of new brilliant podcasts. So, get a 7-day free trial by visiting theathletic.co.uk/Tifo Football and get 50% off if you sign up for an annual subscription. To support Tifo, support The Athletic. Thanks for watching.